Hello, everybody, and we are live. I am Sylvia Guerin, as many of you already know. I've been leading with Natasha Lutz this initiative in the Waunakee community called Waunakee is Home as part of the Create Waunakee community. Today, we have one new installment of our series interviewing our dear Angie Ramos. Angie is a fantastic representation of our Latino community in Waunakee, so we will hear a bit more about her story in a bit. But just reminding everybody that the concept of Waunakee's home is for us simply to get to know the people that make this community the community we are. So by listening to their stories, we are going to see very many similarities. We're going to learn with our differences and hopefully making this community even stronger than it is already. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Angie, for being here. I am going to start this session with playing a video so that everybody gets to see a little bit of what Angie's life has been from Colombia to Waunakee. Fantastic. I can't, I have to do a little move while I'm
Yeah, I feel like dancing now.
I know, right? So salsa is a big part of the culture in Colombia. So I am excited that our two youth volunteers, Bella Lutz and Erin Denkert, have prepared this video for us today. So thank you very much, ladies. They are part of the Waunakee High School. And I hope that you felt honored with this as well, Angie, for the work that they did and putting the music, right? So salsa is a huge typical thing for Colombia, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And especially for Cali, that's the city that I'm from. We're known as the world's capital of the salsa. So we all know how to dance salsa and we dance everywhere. And that's the thing, to dance salsa. And they've also came up with a new rhythm that's called salsa choque, which is kind of a new, more upbeat salsa that I still have to practice to learn how to. Yeah.
That gives me an idea. Maybe we should start creating like a dance club in Waunakee and put some salsa this one day and then samba another day and teach all the community to dance all these different rhythms.
Yeah, it's a great way to exercise actually.
Exactly.
And at the gyms in Colombia, when you go and you do kind of like, it's known as Zumba worldwide.
Yeah.
We do that like all the time, like since many, many years before Zumba, we would go and dance at the gym. That was our exercise. And the creator of Zumba, Beto, he's from Cali too.
Oh, really? Colombia. I didn't know that. Yeah. The tradition's already spread because Zumba is everywhere. So that's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Zumba is very well known worldwide.
Fantastic. Angie, for the people that is tuning in or will hear this later, if you were to describe Colombia as a country or Cali as well, where you specifically come from, how would you tell them? How is Colombia?
Oh, Colombia is very happy. It's a very happy place So we've actually been on the top of the list of the happiest countries several times because the people are so always so happy and welcoming and kind and just full of energy. And when people from other countries come, we always make them feel very welcome and show them our culture. And we get together a lot, although with the coronavirus it's different now, but we
Yeah.
do find ways to connect, and it's just we're pretty easygoing and we're just a happy place. So I
And
would recommend anyone to go.
it's such a fantastic. I've been to Colombia a few times now with work, and one thing that called my attention as well is the climate is always so nice. It's
Mm.
never too hot. Well, sometimes hot in different. I felt so welcomed, like you said. But the other thing I noticed is the women in Colombia really put together. Like they go in the streets, they're always well dressed and with makeup on. It's just such an interesting cultural piece of that, isn't it?
Yes, actually, fashion is also another reason why Colombian is very well known. We have the some jeans that are special to make your butt look bigger. And we have like Medellin is one of the three largest cities in
Yeah,
Colombia, same as Cali and Bogota. Those are the three big cities, and that is a fashion center, and people go there to buy clothing
yeah,
specifically and bring them to other cities, even to the US.
yeah,
And
yeah,
people go there to buy. And I'm glad that you mentioned the climate because a lot of people don't know that because we're so close to the tropics,
yeah,
we don't have seasons. So there's no spring, no summer, no fall, no winter. We don't have that division of like climate. We
yeah,
have, for example, Cali, because of the sea level that we're at, um, above sea level, we're like 200 meters. So we're really hot. So it's hot all the time. And if you want to be a little bit cooler, then you move up above sea level, which would be Medellin. Medellin is known as the city of the eternal spring because it's
yes,
always spring like weather, which is
yeah,
great. And then Bogota is a little bit higher up in the mountains, so that is colder. It's one
yeah.
of the colder cities. So
That's
if
so
you
interesting.
yeah, you can experience everything like within my state. I can go up to the mountains and get snow because there's always snow there. So we can experience all the climates like within the same week if we want.
Yeah, yeah. There is not much clear transitions, right, into the seasons. It's the same as in Brazil too, where I come from. So for us, when we moved to the US, it's such a shocking experience to see the leaves are really falling from the tree and changing colors, and then that winter that we see and all that. But talking to you a little bit about your upbringing in Colombia. You stayed in Colombia, you were telling me, until you were 19. So how was it to grow up in Colombia? Do you have
Oh,
memories from your childhood that you can share with us?
yes. I come from a large family. My family comes from a Paisa heritage. Paisas are the ones from Medellin, and they're known for being more of like fair skin and because they have a lot of children. So my grandpa had 16 and counting because we've
Wow.
discovered other uncle and aunts that we didn't know about.
Wow.
So with my grandma, he had 9 children. And from those, you can imagine all the cousins that I had, and we would always get together. So we had parties pretty much every week because there's always a birthday. And
I can imagine the holiday celebration. How
holiday celebrations were huge. We would take up like the whole street.
awesome.
So yeah, very, very, very happy, very family oriented. I can think of a few best friends that I had, but it was mainly my cousins. We're so
Wow.
close.
That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's fun. And
Hmm.
did you learn how to speak English at school in Colombia?
Yeah, our foreign language is taught at school and it's English.
Yeah.
But you really have to like it to actually learn it because
Yeah.
some people, if they don't like it and they don't really do the homework, they can get by painting a wall with something in English, and then
Yeah,
they get
yeah.
their grade. But I actually I like the language, and I went to a private school outside of my school to learn English specifically. So I did get my English as second language certificate when I was in Colombia.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. And
Mhm.
your family is still in Colombia, or you have family here as well?
My parents live in Colombia. My dad kind of lives half time here, half time in Colombia.
Hmm.
He has some businesses there, so he has to travel, make sure everything's running
Yeah,
well. My brother is the one who's running the business there, and
yeah,
my sister, she's there with her partner and her son, my only nephew. He's 3, and I have another little brother who's in school there.
yeah.
So
It
pretty
makes
much
it
everyone's there.
it makes it hard in the pandemic for us that have family abroad that we can't see them and hope for the best that they don't get anything in being far away, that dealing with that emotion of not being able to just, if we need, just jump on a plane and fly home, isn't it?
I know I've always felt like that was a privilege that I had, that if anything were to happen, I can just buy a ticket and go. A
Yeah,
lot of people don't have that privilege
yeah,
of being able to travel outside the US. So I always felt very fortunate. But now with the pandemic, it's a little bit more difficult. My dad was able to travel.
yeah.
His ticket got canceled a couple of times, but at the end he was able to fly out. So it does take
Good
a
for
little bit
him.
more time, but
Yeah.
you
And then comes the 19-year-old birthday, and then you have this opportunity to move to the United States. Tell us a little bit about how that came about and what the emotions were at that time.
yeah, that was a little crazy thing because I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was in university and we had a break of about 1 year from the um, like the core classes and the clinical classes. So we had a break of 1 year, and a lot of people do get enrolled in working on research, or they travel, or they work, or different opportunities that the university offered.
Yeah.
And one of the opportunities with the international affairs office at the university was to come to the US to work. It was a work and travel program only
Oh.
for people who spoke English already, because there were other programs to study, but
Mhm.
it was because you wanted to study English, which I already had.
So
So
that
that,
class really helped you out with that approach, that opportunity.
yes, because we had to do an interview in English over the phone and everything, just like applying for a job. So I did get the job, and that's how I ended up coming to Wisconsin. And it was funny because we came in the winter time. So we came
Oh
from
gosh.
90-degree weather to like
That's a bit shocking.
it was shocking. We entered through Houston, so that was okay.
Yeah.
But then when we got to Chicago, it was like, wow, we had
Was
gone to
there snow? Was there snow on the ground and
us. We
everything?
came in December, so there have been, I didn't know at the time because I didn't know how much was too much snow, but it was a
Yeah.
lot. Now I know that
Was it your first time seeing snow?
it was the first time seeing snow, and I can still remember the specific smell of snow. Maybe some
That's
people don't realize that snow has a specific scent, because every winter with the first snowfall, I get brought back all the way back those years when I first saw snow.
that's amazing.
Yeah, but it was shocking. We had bought some coats, and when we got here, we are like, we need to go shopping. We didn't
It's very
enough.
similar. When I moved to here, I was 31. Well, I moved to Canada first, and I remember distinctively that experience of seeing snow for the first time and how we feel like little kids, isn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
such a surreal experience for us from Latin America, where very rarely there are some spots there that we have snow,
Hmm.
especially in Brazil or Colombia. Um,
Hmm.
it's really an experience for us.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely shocking when those doors opened and it was like they opened the freezer.
And then you got the job.
I got the job and I spent some time in, this was in Wisconsin Dells. So one of the
All
big
right.
resorts over there. Yes. And it was a great experience. I met a lot of people from all over the world. We had people from Ecuador, from Peru. I'm still friends with a lot of them. Actually, one of my good friends lives here in Madison now, and I met her way back then when she came from Peru to work there as well. So it's a great experience. I was able to improve my speaking skills because that was my main goal. Because I would
Yeah.
understand, I could read, I could write, but speaking was harder. And I think something that helped me was that within my little group, I was the one who spoke the most, so they all would say, Angie, you call. Angie, you ask. Angie, you do this. Angie, do this. So I was in charge and I didn't have anybody to say, you do it. I had to do it. So that pushed me to improve, which is what I wanted.
Yeah, it was the objective anyways. So
Yeah.
do you recall a few um, challenges that you faced when you arrived here, coming from such a different culture? The Latino culture has, again, many similarities, but when we arrive in a different country, there are things that we need to adjust to. Do you recall a few things that were like, oh, that's how they do it here?
Mm-hmm. So one of the big things is tips, because in Colombia, no one really ever tips anybody, and there's not a like a big wage difference. Like
Yeah,
all jobs, you're paid like enough that people don't really need to tip others. There's very, very, very few instances where you tip.
yeah,
Whereas here is that's kind of a custom. You always tip your server. You always tip like your cab driver. So that was one of the things that they wrote in our like little culture one page things that are different.
yeah, yeah,
You do tip, like it's rude when you not tip because they know that it's going to be a change for people when we travel. And then I was shocked of how people just went about their lives even when it was so cold.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
wow, you just have to dress warm and keep doing what you
Keep
need to do.
living.
Yeah.
Keep living. Yeah.
Another thing is the driving. When people drive here, people follow the rules, and you don't see a lot of motorcycles. In
True.
Colombia, a lot of cars don't follow the rules. They don't put their blinkers on, and they just merge. And you see a lot of motorcycles just going between lanes and between
Yeah, yeah,
cars, and you don't see that here.
yeah.
And then walking, like when you walk on the street, you always walk on the sidewalk. You don't walk on the street. In Colombia, you walk,
Everywhere.
you cross the street wherever.
You're a bit describing Brazil, to be honest. So everybody here that is listening, it's kind of Brazil too.
Yeah, when I went to Colombia the first time after being here, I didn't drive. And I
Yeah.
drive here. But when I went there, I was just taxi cabs or somebody else driving because I was like, I am not gonna
And
drive
it's
when I
amazing
don't
how
know what to expect.
you get used to it here, isn't it? Like this
Yeah.
between cars and all of those things that people probably from here don't notice. You get
Hmm.
home, I can't drive in Brazil either because it's a place that would fit one car, probably people in Brazil will fit two.
Yeah, that
That
is
kind
for
of stuff.
sure.
And when
Sounds
you
like
came for that work in Wisconsin Dells, was it for a year that you were intended to stay or?
Yes. So I came in 2008 and I was supposed to live in 2009. But
Mhm.
then, life happened and I met people and I decided, okay, I'm going to stay another year and extend my
Awesome.
visa. And like that, I ended up just saying, making Wisconsin my home.
That's awesome. Awesome. Did you miss home when you
I
first
did.
there?
Yeah. Winters are hard. And December, especially because of the holidays. And on top
Yeah.
of that, Cali has their big celebration between the 25th and the 30th of December. It's the parade for salsa, and there's concerts, there's food, there's presentations, there's like you name it,
Yeah.
and a lot of festivities. So you pretty much start your festivities on the 24th
Yeah.
for Christmas, and then end like first week of January. So
Yeah.
everybody's partying and having fun, and here we're like inside or cold. So
Yeah.
that's the best time to travel to Cali. Would be,
Fantastic tip. So
yeah,
everybody take note.
yeah, warm weather, parties.
Yeah, I asked that question too because I think from my own experience as well, it's interesting to see you came here with an opportunity. It wasn't something that was going bad in your country, like many other countries go through,
Mhm,
or moving away, escaping something. In your
mhm,
case, you were coming for an awesome opportunity to work in Wisconsin Dells, and you were probably very excited. But with the excitement, it's still that fear, that it's the mixed emotion of knowing that you will leave behind your family, friends, your life there. So
mhm.
interesting mix of feelings. No matter what the reason is that we are moving away, there is always something that we are leaving behind. So it's a challenging thing, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially because I'm really close to my mom. And I was still living at home when I left. I didn't know
Yeah.
I was gonna stay though, so I think that was part of it. And I decided to
Yeah.
later on. So yeah, it was definitely kind of hard to say, okay, this is it. I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah. So then
Mhm.
you end up in Waunakee. You have
Mhm.
family here in Waunakee now, and you
Mhm.
do a lot of things in the community. So I would love for us to cover those things because I think that the other biggest issue we want to cover with the Waunakee's home is we all come here and we want to be part of a community. And I think you've been doing such a phenomenal job from the short time that I got to know you.
Thank
With
you.
Key in Español, you were doing translation in our community as your main work. You do all the work with the Waunakee Neighborhood Connection, and also
Mhm.
now helping with the organization of the Waunakee Peace Walk, which is our first event. So can
Mhm.
you talk a little bit about those things?
Yes, so I moved to Waunakee in 2013 because of job change. I started working for UW Health in Madison. So the drive from the Dallas to Madison was taking a toll. So I
Yeah.
started looking in this area and ended up settling in Waunakee. And I've loved it here. I always was very proud of the school system being one of the best in the state, and just the people. I always felt welcome and I liked it. So we decided to make Waunakee our home, and we've moved a couple of times, but it's been within Waunakee because we want to stay. And then when the pandemic started this year, I started working more closely with Waunakee Neighborhood Connection. I was aware of them because my dad actually was a volunteer for them when
Mhm.
he was here home and he couldn't really work yet. He started volunteering there. So I'm like, do you have any needs for a translator? Because I am a professional interpreter and translator. So I thought maybe I could help during this hard times. And they said, oh, sure. And when I started helping out, I started realizing Waunakee has a bigger um, Spanish speaking population than I ever thought. And I started to meet the community and started seeing the need
Yeah.
for more communication in Spanish of everything that's going on in town. So I created the One Aquí en Español, and it's been growing. I think we're about 100 members now,
Fantastic.
and we've been able to share a lot of things that people find valuable. And because of that work and the Waunakee Neighborhood Connection, I ended up getting a job as the first interpreter and translator for a school district, which I'm very proud of. And I want
Oh,
to bring, the language access to all the families in the school, like proper language access.
fantastic.
And continue working with the community. And on the Waunakee en Español, we also been part of the Waunakee Peace Walk, which is part of the Waunatac Diversity uh, Facebook group. And I'm part of it when it comes to language access. So I've been translated all of the flyers, the posts on Facebook, translating the form to order the dinner, because there's a dinner that you can order through the school district
Yeah.
for the date of the Peace Walk, which is Sunday, November 22nd at 4 at the Village Center. We're gonna meet at the Village Center at 4 p.m. on November 22nd. That's a Sunday before Thanksgiving. And we're gonna gather there, and then there's gonna be a brief presentation. There's gonna be a Spanish interpreter and a sign language interpreter. And after that, we're gonna take two paths. There's a long and a short path towards the village park, where we have some lanterns that are gonna be distributed, and then we're gonna release them to the air. And then we're gonna see the lights of Village Park, which are part of the Rotary Club. Um, they are gonna light the lights as we're sending the those lanterns up in the sky.
That would be
So
beautiful. I have goosebumps as you were talking.
what's that?
I have goosebumps as you were
I
just.
know, I know. It's just that it's been a tough year for many reasons. You know, we have pandemic, we have politics, there's a lot of division.
Yeah,
And we want to remind everybody we're Waunakee. Doesn't
yeah.
matter, you know, we all have different experiences, different points of view, but we also have
This is our home.
things in common. Yeah, and this is
Yeah,
our home, and we come from different places, but we're here, we're the ones who are gonna help each other. Doesn't matter.
exactly.
So,
That's fantastic. And by the way, I want to make a comment to everybody as we hear about this organization of the Peace Walk in Waunakee. All the procedures for safety measures, distancing, masks. They also have the masks that were made for the event if you want to first purchase them as well. But all these precautions are being taken in order for us to come together as a community. So it won't be together, it will be together with safe distancing and all of that.
mhm.
Hope that everybody show up and participate. It will be really fun. I also want to say, Angie, the things that I hear about you in our community are so fantastic. I don't know that you have the great idea of how many lives you've been touching already and the impact of your translation work in our school. So thank you so much for that. It's been incredible to get to know you, to get to know where you come from, and how much you bring to this community. So I think I speak in the name of many of us, a huge thank you for what you have been doing to the Waunakee community. And as it comes to an end of our time here
Mhm.
together, we usually ask a few questions that are always the same to all the guests that we have in the Waunakee's home. So if,
Mhm.
and I'll start with those questions before we wrap up. So the first
Okay.
question is, what is the most memorable job you ever had?
Most memorable job, I think it's my current job, interpreter, because I'm always been one to try and help people. And being an interpreter, I feel very accomplished that I'm able to do that, to help the
Fantastic.
communication.
That's awesome. What's
Mhm.
your favorite food? Please say arepas.
Arepa, I like the arepa de choclo. That
Oh,
is a sweet corn arepa that we cook in a mud oven, and
oh
there's
my,
cheese inside, and it's you eat it like right out of that oven, and it tastes delicious, a little bit sweet, a little bit salty, and then you have the cheese inside. It's amazing. Great for cold weather.
so how do you describe arepas for somebody that never ate Colombian arepas?
So arepas are a little patty that's made with dough made of cooked corn, white corn, and then we just that cooked corn we make into like a dough, and then we give them the shape, a circular shape. Is a little bit thicker than a tortilla, and we make them on the grill. So that's the difference. In Colombia, we grill them.
Oh
There's
my
other countries
gosh.
that have arepas or something similar, like in Mexico, there's the gordita, but they fry it.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Colombia, we also do have some that are made on the griddle with a little bit of butter. Those are delicious
Oh
too. Like
gosh.
all
I
types of
need another
arepas.
breakfast and I'm coming to your house.
Yeah, and then we
I,
fill them with different things. We can fill them
I
with
do you make your own arepas?
yes,
I think I will connect you with the one Waunakee Can We Cook. And
yeah,
then we'll have you teaching us how to make arepas because
Oh, we can make arepas
of
con todo
arepas.
because those are like the ones that are filled with everything. So
Oh,
con todo means with everything. So you pretty much have an arepa that's like this big and thick because you fill it with so
I'm
much.
good with it.
So good.
I can have arepas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh,
Guys,
we do too.
into this, you need to find out what arepas are. And I think we will have Angie participating. The Waunakee, can we cook so that we taste that? Because it is.
Mm, yeah.
So the next question is, what is a simple joy in your life?
A simple joy is just sitting watching a movie with my kids. That's just that's just it. You just sit there and relax and cuddle and maybe have some hot chocolate, some nice Colombian coffee.
Oh yeah, what by the way, guys, that's my drink of the morning today. Put a Brazilian and a Colombian on an interview. Guess what we are going to have? They are strong coffee, right, Angie? We
Strong coffee,
drink proper coffee.
very delicious coffee. I don't drink anything else. And I do remember the very first coffee I had in the US tasted like water to me. I was like,
Yeah,
what's
we
this?
call it tea. We call it tea. Yeah.
Sorry, but Colombian
Guys,
coffee just has
think
no comparison.
it's also the things that we have to get adjusted to when we move, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
the coffee that is not as strong. So the next question is, what is your favorite thing about our community?
My favorite thing about the community is the kindness of everybody and the willingness to help. I see a lot of volunteers, the Waunakee Neighborhood Connection, and even in the Waunakee en Español, people have stepped up to say, hey, does anyone need help learning English? And they've been tutoring other community members to learn English.
Fantastic.
And
That's
justice
awesome.
happened naturally here in our community. We just needed a space to connect the people. So I love
Fantastic.
that about the community and the school district. And we're doing a lot of great work on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the school district. I recently connected with the Verona School District interpreters, which I knew from way back when I started interpreting. And we're doing great work. My boss, Chris Mand, and the superintendent Randy Gutenberg, Mr. Ely, all of them, they're great and very supportive.
That is fantastic. I love to hear that. And I'm so glad that there are so many different initiatives taking place in our community. We'll make it even better than it is already. And the
Mhm.
question for us to wrap up, what is the motto you live by?
Oh, the motto I live by is gratitude.
That's
Always
fantastic.
be grateful for something. Sometimes you have a hard day, but then you think, okay, I do have things to be thankful for today. A lot of things. When you start naming them and you say, okay, I'm gonna say three things, then you start realizing how lucky you are. And when you think about other people that don't have all the things you have, not only like material things, but access to things that we have, for example, here in the US that people don't have in other countries. So I like to acknowledge all of those, and then all those little bad things that I had in that day, they become smaller because of
That's incredible.
all the things I have to be grateful for.
That tells so much about you, Angie. Thank you so much. I could sit here and talk another 3 hours with you. I am actually glad that we are going to have a short break and then Angie and I will come back and do an interview in Spanish. So I'll put my Spanish to test in the next. I hope everybody is okay with that. But again, the goal to be inclusive and to have our Spanish speaking community getting to know more about Angie as well. So this next session will start at 10:45, so in about 10 minutes from now. In the meantime, we're done with the English portion. Thank you so very much for being our guest, Angie. And also, thank you very much for being our first volunteer for the Waunakee's home session. You were the very first one to raise your hand and say, I want to be a part of this, and we are very thankful for that. I wanted to thank again to our youth volunteers that created our video for Angie's session, Bella Lutz and Erin Denkert. I hope I'm saying your last name properly. Forgive me if not. This is so important for us. We want to engage the youth in our community, our middle schoolers, our high schoolers. If you guys are interested in supporting us, creating the pieces that will help to describe our guests through videos, to photographs, to any other idea you might bring to the table for us, please let us know. We will find a spot for you to help. For the other volunteers that would like to contribute to this session, please also reach out through the Create Waunakee Facebook page. And finally, just wanted to thank again, Angie, for being here with us today. And I will see you in about 10 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
A pleasure, a pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.